people calling for their Stefanski to be fired, as I had suggested. I thought it was a good idea to be done a week ago. All of you saw the Steelers take apart of the Browns and the game plan that had Dylan Gabriel throwing 52 times, but getting sacked 6 times, not varying the passing. Just a lot of really questionable decisions regarding the game plan design, but I'm not right now going to go into that at length. I happened to see this video from a fellow I know, Charles Robinson. He used to be with Yahoo Sports. I guess he still is, but he's here. This was back done in August 25th, and he was making the comment here, which I wholly disagree with. Here's what he said right here.
Of that theory amongst fans, it's utterly ridiculous. And, it was interesting. I was talking to a GM this morning who knows Kevin Stefanski. He's known him for a number of years, really thinks a lot of him. And
let me stop here and then go back this way. All right.
I love Mary Kay Cabot, who asked the question that now is the audio is getting played a lot today about, the fan sense that Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, is purposely sabotaging Shedeur Sanders. I understand the question because it's definitely something that's being talked about inside the fan base. But in terms of that theory amongst fans, it's utterly ridiculous. And, it was interesting. I was talking to a GM this morning who knows Kevin Stefanski. He's known him for a number of years, really thinks a lot of him. And he caught that clip on Good Morning Football this morning. And he straight up said to me, he's like, I feel so terrible. I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said, I feel so terrible for Kevin. And if I was him, I'd be counting my days until that extension runs out. Because this is absolutely ridiculous, the way that the fan base is treating this situation with Shedeur. He caught some of the highlights. He didn't see the game, but he did see some of the highlights, I think, on the morning shows. And, it was vintage, the problems that came along with Shedeur pre-draft. The holding the football too long. I think he had multiple snaps where he went 5 to 6 seconds long. He's turning his back on the defense to avoid sacks. He's, as I said, drifting in the pocket. It was all those bad habits that I think a lot of people wanted to shy away from him in the draft process because they said he creates sacks. He's a fourth quarterback. The Browns have treated him like the fourth quarterback. This is the way it goes, and there's a multitude of reasons why he started out as the fourth quarterback and is still the fourth quarterback. I think everybody just needs to relax.
Okay, here's why I wholly disagree with Charles, because, first of all, fundamentals. Shedeur Sanders was not and is not out there drawing plays on his own. Neither is Dylan Gabriel. And what you're going to get with any quarterback is when the rush collapses down on them, if you don't have a plan for them to scramble, or you don't have some type of escape hatch, they're going to, if they can run, look to run out of trouble or get sacked. One or the other. Shedeur Sanders, in his first preseason game, the one where he basically shocked the world and did so well, was simply because the Cleveland Browns put him in a logical, play-action-oriented offensive attack with a great set of run schemes. But what Charles does not mention is that for the game where he says that Sanders was doing all the things that Charles says he did pre-draft, holding the ball too long. In other words, all of the actions that Shedeur Sanders took because the Colorado offense wasn't well designed, because the timing wasn't worked out, they basically replicated for Shedeur in preseason, putting it on at the time, almost toward the end of the contest with the Rams, and behind an offensive line where 4 of the 5 linemen didn't even stick around the next week. They cut them all right? On top of that, they didn't even give Shedeur the same kind of game plan in terms of throwing that they gave Dylan, quick throws. They made Shedeur look to throw downfield deeper. What does that mean? It means the pocket collapses faster. It means that he has to deal with linemen who really don't know how to block well, and they're trying to make the team. And not only that, there's no game plan, and it's not coordinated. So all of this, and yet Charles has the gall to say, well, it doesn't look like he was set up. But in point of fact, Charles, you and I both know that given the fact that the coaches designed the game plan, they can set someone up to fail. Veteran football fans, veteran football reporters, veteran football content creators, media content creators like myself, and I say veteran, I mean like those going back to the 90s and before that, and then of course as a fan in the 60s, I remember something called the lookout block. You know what the lookout block was? The lookout block was something that was done by offensive linemen when they didn't like a certain quarterback. So basically, they would line up in practice, get ready to run the play, and they would let the lineman come through, and the call was, hey, look out, as in look out, you're going to get creamed, all right? Because they were trying to send you a message, or they didn't like you, or something like that. That behavior still goes on, and no one can tell me otherwise. It happens with coaches knowingly putting quarterbacks in bad situations. And what's going on now is the fans are sophisticated enough to see it, all right? Because they see enough football, they do enough analysis. They're not stupid. And you can't just, do the thing out there that's done in politics where someone will say, well, that's not really going on, and then basically telling you fake news, all right? The fans are not stupid. The fans know when to recognize when someone is being treated unfairly, and they know that Shedeur Sanders was and has been treated unfairly. In fact, the Browns themselves created the video that demonstrates how Shedeur would do with a first string line of talent, or even second string, and with plays that don't make him the target, that, as Bill Walsh would say, move the launch point, varied formations, and have passes that create yak, yards after the catch, all right? If you don't know how to design those, you have no business being in football at any level, particularly at the NFL level, all right? But to know how to do it and then not do it, and then put certain players in those situations like the Browns did with Jameis Winston last year when Ken Dorsey, under Kevin Stefanski, said, you know what? I'm going to run this offense where Jameis Winston looks like the gunslinger the media paints him to be. And if he throws touchdowns, I look good. But if he throws interceptions, which he will because I'm not designing a ball control passing offense, then he looks bad and we don't have to worry about him, sticking around for a long time. They set Jameis Winston up into that situation, all right? And you have to be an idiot to not see it, okay? And doing the same thing with Shedeur. Why don't these folks come out and say, well, they've been so hungry for, successful white quarterbacks to emerge under the fear that the NFL's, popularity will go down if there are more black quarterbacks, that they've been trying to engineer these situations. Because that would be the honest truth, because that's what it looks like. And what the NFL doesn't seem to understand is that America is more integrated than ever. You have commonly interracial relationships, or really interbreed relationships, all the time. It's the norm. Nobody cares. And they think that you're woohoo, 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 if you have some issue with it. And you know what? They're right. They're right. It's a different world today, and the NFL has to stop acting like people are not going to like the league if it's, has a certain complexion of quarterback and that sort of thing. What NFL fans want to see is good football, competitive football, players they like who represent the best of America, regardless of what their skin color is. And that's the way that is, okay? What's going on here is shameful. It's just shameful, and it needs to stop. It's too obvious. And again, Charles, dude, you're smarter than that, all right? Okay. Subscribe to Zinni62 on YouTube and bookmark NFL News by Zinni62.com. Thanks.